Hey Internet, I'm Simon Squibb, your host at the Good Luck Club. I believe luck is an ingredient that's necessary for a successful life. Whatever you're starting, building or shipping, I'm here to tell you, without luck, you're not going to make it. I've been testing my luck as an entrepreneur since I was 15 years old. I have had plenty of failures and successes, and I'm fascinated by the things I couldn't control. The moments that made my career, and the ones that threatened to end it. In each episode, I'll invite a guest to share their stories about luck, the good and bad, and together we'll test my theory about luck's role. Welcome to the Good Luck Club. Our mission is to give insights to people about how to be successful and even figure out together what success might mean for you. We're gathering insights from people that have been there and done it. Often people who have been successful in different ways and have unique paths to get there. But in my view, always with relevant good luck or bad luck along the way. This is what, in part, we're here to debate today. I'm very lucky to have Hugo Tobar with us. Hugo likes to say, the power is making the unknown known. Reading this statement made me think how aligned we are, as I feel the same way, and in many ways, what is driving me to put these podcasts together today. He joins us from Salt Lake City, where he is teaching a course there. He was originally born in the US from an Australian mother and an Ecuadorian father. What a fantastic mix. He is the founder of Neuroenergetic Kinesiology and has been developing courses and teaching kinesiology since 1998 and set up the NK Institute in 2004. Hugo is a civil engineer and a business background with a sharp entrepreneurial mind. This has provided him with the tools he needs to pioneer and develop the existing and powerful modality. Hugo himself does not believe luck exists, and we will talk to him about this today. Hugo, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Simon.
What is kinesiology?
Well, kinesiology is basically natural therapy, and I view it as a stress management system. Basically, it's a way you can get stress out of someone's system, and it could be mental, emotional, it could be physical, it could be spiritual. And then once the stress has gone from the system, hopefully they can find a new equilibrium or get healing or anything like that. But I would say it's not a healing modality. People look at it as a healing technique, but I don't believe the kinesiologist heals the person heals themselves.
Wow, that's powerful stuff. And what does success mean to you?
Being happy, really, and living the life you want to live. Also, like, you can look at success in different ways. I mean, there's personal success, maybe in your relationship, or if you have children, or in your family with your parents or your siblings. And also on a business level, I think success is being able to achieve the goals you set out to achieve when you first started. And often I think people, when they go into business or have an idea, they don't have a clear vision of where they want to go or where they should be going from the beginning.
I think that's true. I also think happy is a funny word. It's often misunderstood. I meet people that tell me they're not happy in their lives, and then when you break it down, you'll find often they're not happy with themselves. I don't know if you've also seen that.
I would. Yeah, that's often the case.
Now, I was keen to interview you because you have, frankly, quite different views from me around the concept of luck. Which I love. I love being outside my bubble and learning. And I just wanted to dive in straight into the concept of luck and your view on it. And maybe if I can convince you luck does exist, which I'm not sure I can, give some examples where you think maybe luck did or did not play a role in your business life.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting word, luck, and I certainly use it. But to me, luck is a word like karma. And where people, you might say, oh, I had good luck. Or, for instance, when I started my business, one of my colleagues told me how lucky I was that I was just in the right place at the right time. But to me, if I say to you, like what you achieved with your business in Hong Kong or anything, that you were lucky, that actually takes away from the power of what you achieved. And I think if you put things to luck, you're actually disempowering someone. And I prefer to say, no, I was in the right place at the right time. It wasn't luck, it was because I am brilliant and I manifested being in the right place at the right time. So when you say I have good luck, then you're saying that I am taking away from what I have achieved, and it's my power, my vision that put me there, and it wasn't luck. And the same with bad luck as well. You could say, oh, I had bad luck, this happened. And it's going, no, that's a way of not taking responsibility of what happened to you in your life. If you are responsible for what happens to you, then it's not luck. It's what you've manifested. Okay? Even if you win the lottery or something like this, it's not luck. It's like, no, I'm brilliant at manifesting some money. I really needed some money. I bought a lotto ticket and I won.
Fascinating, and I know exactly what you mean, and I would like to say that 5 years ago, I think I totally agree with you. You know, I've spoken to people and said, oh, you know, I built this business and then I sold it to PwC, and the people would say to me that, oh, lucky you, and I would feel defensive, to your point, well, no, I worked very hard, this happened, that happened. And then over time, I think I've humbled myself a bit, and I think there is a huge element of luck. And then I look at the other side of the coin, and I'm interested in your view on this. You know, I've got a good friend who right now is terminally ill, and it's not, you know, bad luck for them, and they did nothing wrong. They worked hard, they're sincere, honest, and so they don't deserve that bad luck. So, you know, how do you correlate the two?
Well, as I said, it's basically, you know, when people have like really life-challenging situations like trauma, you know, it could be a terminal illness, or, you know, they were in an accident or something happened, you know, they were attacked by someone. You know, these, again, when you can say, well, that's bad luck. And I understand the viewpoint of like you would say, of your friend being terminal ill, and it's a very tricky thing to address this, because people, you know, especially when you're dealing with someone, or like as a therapist, as a kinesiologist, often kinesiologists are working with terminally ill people, and you can't just say to them, oh, well, that's what you manifested or something like that. But at the end of the day, like, I think luck is a very similar word to karma, and where, you know, you could say, well, I had bad karma, or I had bad luck. And at the end of the day, the way I've got to understand this through all the different journeys and travelings that I've done, it's the, you know, how your life unfolds is part of your journey, of your spiritual path to get where you are trying to go on the path of enlightenment. And so whether you have a terminal illness or you have a happy health and live to 100 years old and have an amazing life and, you know, with a wonderful family and all this, or you have you know, other things where you're homeless and got no money, or any situation in your life, again, it's about, on a spiritual level, it's about being responsible of what happens in your life. And so, though I do understand the viewpoint where people use the word luck, and I certainly use the word, but at the end of the day, you know, I don't think luck really exists. I think it's an excuse we use for either not being responsible or not stepping up and owning what we have manifested into our life. And I would prefer to use the word manifestation, like I'm a good manifester, or I've manifested this poorly. You know? Yeah,
I mean, I love the subject, and I completely see where you're coming from frankly, I've got a partner in life who thinks the same way as you. So I
saw the interview, and she referred to it as an achievement.
Yeah, she sees it as fate, which is interesting. And what I found actually when I asked people, you know, are you unlucky? No one really wants to say that they're unlucky either. And maybe that's an element of pride. There's also an element people don't want to insult the people in their lives by saying they're unlucky. And I think, to your point, there might be a manifestation element there too. If they say they're unlucky, you know, they can become unlucky. I consider myself extremely lucky. And I think when I originally became successful, I looked at why I was successful and said it was because I was brilliant. And then as I really started to analyze things, there was 2 or 3 moments in my life which some may have been seen as bad luck, turned out to be a blessing for my life now. And so it's kind of an interesting thing to review it. But in the end, I believe that if I wasn't lucky, I wouldn't have been successful. I know many people, for example, that have very successful, very talented people working in agencies today, have agencies that they can't sell. They're stuck in those businesses. I was lucky enough to sell my company for a lot of money. But I wasn't any better or harder working than those people that I'm thinking of. So why did I get it and they didn't? But what do you think?
I think you're in the right place at the right time. And this is what my teacher used to say. The meta-human is always in the right place at the right time. And whereas the average human is not in the right place at the right time. But you being in the right place at the right time, and I can hear you about things that happened before that. And I know with my business, there's 3 businesses now it's turned into, and they're reasonably successful. And there's all those things that happened in my life leading up to that, you know, that you would think, I was down and out. And like, I remember being in India on a train for 2 days with no money. I couldn't afford to buy food for 2 days, you know. And I've been down in those places where, you know, nowhere to live and everything like that. But it's, you know, when you're in the right place at the right time, that is your power. And if you say, I was lucky, sorry, Simon, I think you're disempowering yourself, and you're not acknowledging how brilliant you were, and Helen, both of you, that you were in the right place at the right time. You made the decisions, you built something, and you sold it for a lot of money. That is brilliance. And that's what brilliant people do. And that's where people are in their path, as my teacher used to say, is the meta-human. So you were in your meta-human selves. You're always in the right place at the right time. Not because of luck, because you are brilliant. That's the way I see it.
Well, I love having you on, because basically for the last minute and a half you've said I'm brilliant. I think for that alone I feel happy.
Well,
I mean, to be honest with you, it's my...
In that way you were.
To be honest, my natural personal state is to be quite confident. And I like to reflect on this. The reason I've set up this podcast is I like to reflect on what really happened and see if there's a way to give people some of this. You can call it karma. Yeah, I like that. You can call it maybe insight. But how do we bottle this energy that you're talking about, I think, and give other people that feeling that they also too could be lucky? I mean, have you had bad luck and good luck? I mean, you mentioned there being on a train for 2 days in India and not eating. I mean, do you view that? How do you view your life? Have you had bad luck and good luck?
Oh, I made a poor decision. Like, you know, just before I got on the train, some guy wanted to buy my didgeridoo and I didn't sell it, and I should have sold it. And after I got off the train ride, I broke it.
Right.
So, you know. So
for those that don't know what a didgeridoo, by the way, is, some people around the world, you know, just to clarify, what is a didgeridoo? Some people might misunderstand that.
It's a wind instrument from the Aboriginal people in Australia. And, you know, back in the hippie, you know, when I was in my hippie days, I used to traveling around India with my didgeridoo, and I was too attached to it. But my lesson was, you know, I was given the opportunity to have some money, but I made a poor decision. You know, so if we make poor decisions and end up with bad luck, you know, is that bad luck, or do you have to sit back and reflect And why did I make a poor, why did that happen to me? And, you know, when these things have happened, these so-called bad luck events, they are an opportunity for reflection, to take responsibility of why that happened to you, and then reflect back on yourself and see if you can find that part of yourself that caused that to happen and start dealing with it, you know?
Which, I mean, makes sense from a, let's call it a business context or even a life context, but I still can't wrap my head around that concept when you look at what you're dealing with every day and many of your students are dealing with every day, where you've got terminally ill people, for example, that have done nothing wrong. How can they reflect on that and not see that as bad luck? How is that their fault?
No, well, what that then needs to get to that point, it requires spiritual development. And see, often these, like, I think Ian White, he was the Australian bushflower guy. I saw him give a talk once. And he said, who's suffered, he wanted to know in the room, has suffered the Mack truck effect? It's like you've needed a Mack truck to come and slam you to make you change your direction in life. And so when this kind of thing happens, it's a chance, you know, you're basically forced to look outside the box to change things. And for whatever, like, you know, whatever the case is, you know, I fortunately didn't need a Mack truck. My worst Mack truck was 2 days on a train in, you know, and believe me, in India, no one's helping you out there when you're on the train with all the, you know, second class. It's not, you know, but it's a chance to reflect where other people, like my teacher, Dr. Charles Krebs, his Mack truck effect was a scuba diving accident that caused him, you know, to become physically disabled, but turned him to kinesiology and completely changed his life.
I've actually met Charles, and he worked on me, and he is amazing. So
yeah, but you know, he probably wouldn't have been here today if that diving accident hadn't happened. And you know, and a lot of people have had these Mack trucks come and slam them, and some people don't. I mean, it's just that everybody's got their own path, and we say, you know, say, oh, that's my karmic path, you know, that's my path of karma. But to me, I always replace the word karma with choice. It's the way you are choosing to manifest your life lessons in the physical world. And sometimes some people do it harder than others, you know.
Well, we're actually coming from the same place, because part of the reason I'm doing this podcast is to show people they're actually in control of their luck. I just think it manifests itself more in mindset and planning, but actually, in many ways, you're saying the same thing. It's my theory as well is that, and I think you're in a way saying the same thing, that bad luck can also be good luck. Which is hard for the people that have had bad luck. I mean, I've also had bad luck in my life. My father died when I was 15 years old. I considered that a very unlucky moment. Yet today I'm very happy in life, and I think in part because I had such a traumatic childhood. But I mean, for yourself, have you had you say you haven't had a truck hit you, but what's been the hardest moments for you to overcome in this mindset that you weren't unlucky?
Oh, okay. Well, like you, with my father, you know, my father and mother met in the United States, and neither were American citizens, and I was born there. And then he was on a scholarship from the Navy at going to school in Boston. Then he had to go back. He was a Navy officer, so my mother went with him, and it didn't last. And so my mother went back to Australia, and I grew up there, and my brother was born in Australia. And so I basically grew up without a father. And then when she remarried, I had a stepfather who I did not have a good relationship in any way. And so that, you know, not having my father around most of my life has been a very challenging thing for me, and certainly shaped me. Now I have, he's still alive, he's quite elderly, but he's not well. And so, you know, like in his later years, I'm spending as much time with him as I can. But it's certainly the whole thing for me, growing up without my father and then having a stepfather that, you know, I did not get along with, and that he came on the scene when I was 7. And so that to me is probably the thing that's, you know, really shaped who I am, you know.
But I think that's thank you for sharing that personal insight. But how does that translate to your theory? And so, if, for example, I mean, I think this about where people are born. If you're in a war-torn country, it's not your fault. You didn't plan it. Yes, maybe you're 6 years old. You can sit down and reflect on the fact you're in a war-torn country, but it's hardly your fault. And even if you reflect on it, there's not much you can do at that point in your life. I mean, I feel that way about your story. You know, that it wasn't your fault. You didn't make those decisions. Your mother did, or your father did, or your stepfather did. I mean, you were just part of the system that they were working. So how is that your fault? Looking back at the younger self,
it's not my fault, but it's the life I was born into, and it's the way I was given, you know, as you know, and so this is where you've got the word karma coming in, you know. So that what your karma is, you know, like where you're born and what, you know, what family you're in. If you're in a war-torn country, or like me, I've got 3 nationalities, and you know, it's hard for me to connect with either of the 3 countries, you know. And so I've always had this feeling of not belonging anywhere, and but that's still, like when you say, well, that was my karma, but you know, the way I see it is that was the choice I made on some level, whatever, that to learn the lessons I need to learn here, and whatever they are. And you know, looking now at what I do, everything that happened to me from an early age was you know, has shaped me and got me ready to do the NK Institute in Neuroenergetic Kinesiology and develop this whole system that's been developed and taught worldwide now, you know.
I know what you mean about these things can be a motivator. That's, I think, what you've achieved. You need a motivator to do all that work, right? There's got to be a reason to go and do all these things. A purpose is what I try to tell people to have, and I think you found yours. But I still just question how to correlate unlucky moments. I think lucky moments are easier to understand, but unlucky moments, certainly where people have had when they're in their childhood difficult times, how to not say that they were just unlucky. I find that hard to understand. But, I mean,
it is hard to understand.
Yeah, and that's what that makes me go back full circle to believing that luck exists, because if being unlucky exists, then being lucky must also exist. And I do think a lot of entrepreneurs, for example, that have been successful will say, oh, you know, I'm so skilled, I'm so talented, I did this, I did that, without my brilliance it wouldn't have worked. And I often think to myself, no, it could have worked. You know, it's not necessarily you that made it work. I think about my company, there's a talent inside that company that actually made it work as much as me. So anyway, it's fascinating. I find that I could actually talk to you for a very long time, Hugo, and I'm already looking at the clock thinking we have about a minute left. And I'd just like to ask you one more question. If you were to go back to your younger self, that child that you were just talking about, and give some advice, what would it be?
You really want to know?
Yes. You're building suspense for the podcast listeners. We all really want to know.
I mean, when I was young, like, you know, say 7, 8, I would have just said, I wouldn't do anything differently, to be honest. And as I got older, maybe into my teens, I was always very nervous to ask girls out. I would say, just ask her out, will you?
Yeah, that's good advice for everyone, that is. Yeah. Both sides of the equation, that's a good bit of advice. Yeah, you've got nothing to lose, really, right? Life's short.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. But I think it's very easy to say when you're older and you realise, but when you're younger, it's so hard to realise that life is short. I think time seems to go so much slower when you're young, right?
Yeah, that's because you've lived less years, and the more years you've lived, the more experience you had, they just seem to roll by quicker.
And your career choice, just finally, I know I said that was the last question, but there's so many things I want to ask you actually. Maybe afterwards we stop this podcast, we can carry on. I can do a YouTube extra for people because you've got so much insight. But what do you see as kind of the advice to give people when it comes to careers? You found your calling, your purpose. how did you do that, and what's the advice you give others when looking for that?
Okay, well, it's kind of weird. When I started studying kinesiology, I had no idea what I was going to do with it, and even while I was a student, I was just, I had, my kids were very young. They were like, my oldest was born when I was in the first year of training, but the thing is that you just have to know, really feel that this is what you want to do. I think that the one of the things people miss even when they're doing business plans and that is the strategic vision is so important, that having a clear strategic vision of what you want in your business, make it very clear. And then once you know what it is, my teacher used to say that, the art of manifestation is you expect it to happen. So then do everything as if you're going to develop a successful business and make sure everything you do is in alignment with your vision. And that's what I did. I had the vision over 20 years ago of an international institute, articulating with universities, having an RTO, everything like that. And I've basically achieved, it's exactly what I've achieved, because that was the clear vision I had, and everything I did was in alignment with that vision. And I think one of the things that people, they start with a business, but they don't have a clear vision of what they want. So then they do this. Oh, this seems like a good idea, and that seems like a good idea. But they're dissipating their energy instead of putting their energy into a clear vision of where they want to go, and everything supports that. So you're not wasting your energy, or everything you do gets you to where you want to go.
Totally. I think we'll carry on just for 5 more minutes after this on YouTube. I'm just going to stop the podcast now, Hugo, because I feel like try to keep 20 minutes so people can listen to this on their way to work. So thank you, podcast listeners. If you want to know more from Hugo, switch over to YouTube. Thank you very much. I'll just sum up my quick view on Hugo's insights today. First of all, just be happy. Not easy state to find yourself in, but find it. Metahumans are always in the right place at the right time, so perhaps consider becoming a metahuman. If a truck hits you, it's there to help you. I think that's quite a powerful one for me. And the art of manifestation is knowing what's going to happen. So Hugo, thanks for those insights, amazing. And I'll stop the podcast and we can jump over to YouTube and have a chat more. So thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, Hugo. Yeah, so the podcast bit is done. I'll edit it a little bit, but wow, that was just amazing. Thank you so much. Really amazing. I don't know if you do many interviews, but you've got so much knowledge. Wow, it's kind of mind blowing the way you view things too. Do you do much of this stuff?
No.
Why not?
A little bit.
I could be your agent. I basically I could be your agent. I think I work for free.
Okay.
All the best people do.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, all my energy's been going into the Institute and NK. And I guess I had a bit of a Mack truck. Like 2 years ago, I had 2 surgeries. The first one was a skiing accident, and then I needed ankle surgery. And then I hobbled over to Hong Kong to teach a course on my crutches, and then I got stuck in the super typhoon.
Right,
I remember that a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
and that's when I was teaching, and so then I ate some chicken and that wasn't refrigerated, and I was vomiting violently, and then my one gallstone in my gallbladder got lodged in the outlet, and it expanded, and I needed emergency gallbladder surgery there in Hong Kong.
Wow.
So the bad luck was the travel insurance didn't pay for it, so 23 grand later.
Wow.
The good luck was the surgeon was he was amazing. And, I think I hear how other people have had complications, and this guy was worth the money, to be honest. I was there on top of the hill there in Hong Kong. I forget the name of the hospital.
Yep.
But that made me decide to set up a board to run NK, which we founded in October. and Brett was there, and Sean, and Queenie, and Pauline from Hong Kong, and there was 35 people from all over the world came to be a part of it. And so now I've set up a board to run it so it can continue to exist without me. And so so what now is that all my time and energy has been going to this, and this year will be the last year that I actually have all this lots of teaching overseas. I still have teaching overseas, but instead of going to Europe and teaching 30 days, I'll be going to teach 15 days, you know. And so I will have more time to do other things and like maybe write a book or something like this to get what I've learned out and, you know, move on to the next phase of my life, you know.
Well, look, again, thank you so much for your time today. I know you've got the course to go and do, so I'll let you go. But thank you very much. Really interesting insights, and I'll ping you when I put it live. And thank you again. Appreciate it so much.
No worries, Simon, and good luck with everything.
Yeah, I'm going to need it. Good luck with the course today, and I know Helen will. She's downstairs looking after Aidan right now, but I know she looks forward to seeing you again very soon. As I do.
Yeah,
I look forward to meeting
you. To the UK this year.
Oh, great, good. Well, come and stay with us.
Okay.
All right, we'll see you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Take care, Hugo, bye.
Thank you for listening to the Good Luck Club podcast. We know you have thousands of podcasts you could be listening to, and you've chosen us. We, of course, feel lucky. If you want to hear more, please go to thegoodluckpod.com or go to any of our social media pages and share with us your views, your insights, and any way that we can improve what we're doing to make it a better experience for you. We wish you the best of luck.